Welcome to those of you who've already joined us. If you want to say hello, please put a comment in the chat window. Make sure it says to all panelists and attendees, and then everyone will see it. Yeah, more people are arriving. Welcome everybody. Good to see you arriving. If you want to tell us who you are and say hello, just put a comment in the chat box. Then we'll see who we've got with us.
Oh,
David, good morning. And Gret, good morning. Andrew, welcome. With the chat window, if you want everyone to see your comment, change the thing to all panelists and attendees. If you just want me and Liz to see it, just all panelists. So some of you only Liz and I can see. Teresa, welcome.
Hi, Teresa. Just to say, unfortunately, we can't see you. You can see us, but we can't see you. Just the different ways you can set up a Zoom meeting. This is a webinar. So unfortunately, yeah, we can't see you. So you can sit there eating your lunch, drinking coffee.
Yeah, and as usual, remember the chat window is for comments, for saying hello, as many of you are doing. We have the question and answer button as well, so please put your questions in there. Obviously today is a surgery. We just want lots of questions, and we hope to try and answer them, or at least give you some tips. So please put your questions into the question and answer box. And any just comments or general chat in the chat box, and then we'll do our best to answer your questions.
Yeah, and we also appreciate people's comments on the chat and from your own experience and things that worked well for you. Yeah. And so, yeah, please feel free to comment. Don't forget where the chat is, don't forget the drop down bit there so that you select all panelists and attendees. Yeah. For those that are joining us newly.
Yeah, Greg says he can't see anyone else on the chat. That's because several of you have written just to all panelists. So as Liz said, on the drop down thing, change it to all panelists and attendees, then everyone else will be able to see.
Yeah, great. Good to see the questions and answers coming in.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Lovely.
Shall I kick us off with a prayer, Christine, do you think?
Yeah,
do you want to wait for a few more people, or?
Yeah, I think if we get started now.
Okay. Well, this is a prayer from our diocese. We do a daily prayer that's posted onto the website and onto social media, and this is the latest one, I think. Anyway, so let's pray together. Dearest Lord, what are you calling each of us to be and do for such a time as this? Draw us deeper into relationship with you, that we may put our hope and trust in you alone. That your perfect love may cast out our fear, and that your peace that passes understanding would fill our hearts and minds and flow through our lives to touch the lives of all those around us. Teach us to exchange selfishness for selflessness, Show us how to be your hands and feet, your eyes and ears in our neighbourhoods and virtual communities. Guide, equip and strengthen us by your Holy Spirit, Lord. Help us to be the fragrance of Christ in your suffering world. Teach us to pray and help us to be the best that we can be for such a time as this. Amen. Amen.
Good morning, Celia. Just arrived. Yeah, so today is all about your questions. Please write your questions. We have one already, which we've seen, and we'll come to that one. Please write your questions into the question and answer box, or if there's anything that you just want to say, can we revise from previous webinars? Is there something that you want us just to go over again that we've mentioned previously, but you'd just like a little refresher on that? So please just pop that into the question and answer box as well, and we can go over that for you. Okay, shall we go with this first question? Oh, sorry, my chat box got really big and I couldn't see anything. Okay, so first question is from David, which we also had in advance by email. Thank you, David. Parish is about to reduce its contribution to MMF because of lockdown. What can be done to prevent this from happening? Do you want to kick off, Liz? And I'll fill in any gaps if there are any.
Yes. What can be done to prevent this from happening? It has to be said, those parishes who are already sort of well set up with regular giving via either parish giving scheme or standing order are probably less affected than those churches that rely more on their giving via the weekly plate and even through envelope giving. So at this point, it's quite hard to think. It's not going to be a quick fix, and I think we need to be looking at sort of ensuring as we go forward that we safeguard that regular giving in the future. And we talk a lot about the parish giving scheme, and we have done a webinar on parish giving scheme because it is such an easy way for people to give and for parishes to have that monthly gift aid collected for them. It really is. I remember our previous Bishop Tim, saying it's a no-brainer. It is so simple to set up and do and use, and once parishes get used to using it and use it, when new people join, then people tend to quite happily slot into that. So for envelope givers at the moment, there's more hope for that as well, in that hopefully encouraging those givers to accumulate their envelopes. And the good news is that the HMRC are allowing that to be used for those who aren't taxpayers using that way. They can still claim the small gift aid, small donation scheme through that, even if it's more than the £30 that their limit is. So that's good news. But I think really it probably needs to be, it's been a wake-up call really for all our churches, all our parishes, to really ensure that we safeguard that giving. And so there are certain things that we should be looking at. Do you want to carry on with that one, Christine?
Yeah. So obviously, as Liz says, the regular giving is the most important thing to focus on initially, but there's other ways. In previous webinars we've been talking about online giving as well, which is something which during lockdown is something that can be really useful if people have the ability to give online rather than having to go to church to give their gifts. it's a really useful way of encouraging giving. And it also, as well as people in your churches being able to give that way, people from your local community can give that way and can get involved with giving online. Various people we know have done some really creative things to encourage more money to come into the church and to encourage the community to get involved as well. As I noticed Celia's here. Celia had an online flower festival, which they did in St. Column, which raised over £500, I think, at last count, last we heard. And that's great, just showing pictures, as you would normally have a flower festival in the building, but showing pictures online and asking for contributions towards that, and that can raise money. Somebody else, Leslie, I don't know if Leslie's here today, in her church they did a similar thing, an online open garden. They again have raised over £500 so far. I've got some clips of that which I might show you later on, just to show you some creative ways of encouraging income at a time when you can't open your buildings, you can't raise the money in the normal ways, you can't open your church, you can't have events, you can't rent out your church hall, but there are creative ways that you can do that online to keep things going and keep the extras coming in on top of the regular giving as well. Don't know if you've got anything else there, Liz?
I'm just thinking Falmouth, KCM, they've written to everyone on the electoral roll with a letter just saying, you know, actually spelling out how much the church needs to function on a weekly basis, really, worked out the finances of that and saying, you know, this is what we need to raise, this is what we've got coming in at the moment. If you can help in any way, we'd be very grateful. And they've also introduced the parish giving scheme and sent a parish giving scheme joining form with that, and saying if you're able to commit to a regular amount, whether it's monthly, quarterly or annually, we'd be very grateful for that. And they're seeing that coming in. Actually, people are actually very open to giving at the moment, especially those of us who are not spending as much for our outgoings, who've got their normal income and not spending so much, and they have got a bit more to play with at the moment, and are actually quite happy to give extra.
Yeah.
So I think it's the communicating with people and communicating with your congregation, the community, actually what the financial situation is for the parish.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask people to help with putting that together. I think for some people it can go, oh, that's quite a big task. So perhaps bring together a task force just for this time to be able to help with that. So there's people who are good at writing, or good at putting together something attractive looking, a good letter, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's both, as well as making sure people know what the need is and that there is a need for money, making sure people understand why, and telling stories about what the church is doing, so that people are not just thinking the church is begging for money, but that the money is going towards the mission and ministry that you do. So it's telling your stories, helping people to understand what you're doing as a church, what your mission is, and that there is a financial need that goes along with that, so that people understand both sides. They understand where there is a shortfall in the money, but they understand what that money is doing and what that's achieving in the community, and the outreach that you're doing. I'm just looking at a few in the comment window. We've got a few comments there. Andrew says that they're doing a virtual coffee morning. That's another creative thing. People are doing coffee mornings, cream teas. So you do it online, but people can contribute, different things like that. Maybe a quiz night if you do
quiz nights. Quiz nights are really popular. Yeah,
and people can contribute in that way. Also in the chat window, Celia has said, what's the difference between the usual PGS form and the wider community giving form? So there is something called the PGS wider community, which is, it's a new form with lovely pictures on, designed to appeal to people who are not regular churchgoers. So it has pictures on it of and words on it that help people to think about what the church gives to the community, and why the church is an important part of the local community. Inside, actually, the giving form is exactly the same as the regular one. So it's just giving through PGS, but it's just a leaflet that's designed to appeal to people who are not part of the church or a regular part of the church. So that's something that you could use. It's a nice leaflet, an easy way to approach people from the local community to ask for their contributions as well. The wider community can give just on the normal PGS gift form if you want to just use those, but the wider community one is designed just to have that appeal and to encourage people to think about giving in that way.
Yeah, yeah. Just looking at some of the questions here, we will cover all of them, don't worry, but just to link into that fundraising thing, Sandy's asking, how do you collect donations from open gardens online? Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so to collect donations from open gardens online, you would have something on your screen. So you would sign up to an online giving provider to start with. We talked about Give a Little. There are various different online giving providers. So you would need to sign up to one of those providers. After you've done that, you get a sort of giving button that you put on the screen. I might just show you actually what Leslie did. I can bring that up. Now, hopefully I can bring that up. I'm going to try anyway. So I don't know if Leslie's here, but she did give me permission to share these. So now if I can find it, I'm on the wrong thing there. Okay, so from Week St Mary, they had their open gardens. So they signed up at the bottom, you can see the little Give a Little logo there. They signed up to Give a Little, which is an online giving provider. And then through Give a Little, you can then set up your own screen. So this is their own screen that they designed, but you can click on the donate £10 button, and that would take you through to Give a Little, where you give using your card or PayPal or however you wish to give. So they set it up so you donate £10, or you can choose your own amount, so you can donate more than £10. And from that, you then go into the Open Gardens video. They've done it in a way that you pay before you go and see it. So you pay, then you go in, and there's a nice video with their Open Gardens. They would have done this live, but they ended up doing it online. I've got a little, she had a little trailer. There's an Open Gardens trailer. I don't know, can you see this? Can you see my trailer or not?
Yes, yeah.
Can you hear it?
Not very well, but it's, yes, that's better. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, yeah, so this is the trailer that they have to show. Oh. So that's their little trailer, which I think is absolutely wonderful. So you watch the trailer, your appetite is whetted by that, and then you go onto this screen, you make your donation, then you can see the whole video. So that's basically it. But yeah, so you have to sign up to Give a Little or another online giving provider, and then from that you can then set up your screen as you would like for people to. to give. You don't need to, they had this where you had to give £10 and then you saw it. You can just make the video visible for everybody and then they can donate what they like. You can do it whichever way you wish, but yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Now, Teresa asks about the sum up and the different providers. And she said, I've had an online scheme sent to me by the parish buying called Sum Up, which is the one we generally talk about the most. Do you know anything about it? The commission is 1.95%. Do you know of any better scheme? Now, I've actually got down here, if I just share, can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Well, the comparison is yes. Oh, no, I've got, you need to enable me to screen share.
Oh,
Christine.
sorry, let me just do that. Yeah, there we go.
Just quickly to show this is on Parish Resources, and it does a comparison of all the different online providers, and that's really useful. So you can see how much they will cost and transactions per cost per transaction, and how that works out. So actually, yes, give a little is the best at the moment, if you can see that for and then some of them there's not much between them all. The national team have done a lot of work on researching this and looking into it, and from their kind of experience they seem to think that they found that Give a Little is one of the easiest ones to set up as well. So it's not just about how much it is, although that is the best at the moment. It's also about ease of setup. Okay, so
yeah,
there we go. Stop share. Go back. Does that help?
Yeah, so we would recommend that one. The Give a Little through Sum Up. That somebody else has asked. Claire has asked, what is the best contactless payment system for use in churches? And again, one we would recommend is Sum Up. Again, you can do with Sum Up, you can do your online giving, and you can get a contactless device to go with that. And all you have to do is set up the one account, the Sum Up account. You can do your online giving and get your contactless machine through that. There are loads of contactless machines, and they're all good actually. But Sum Up, because of the ease of combining it with the online giving, and it's got the low transaction costs, it's quite a good one. It's also a very cheap device to buy. Now, the only problem with Sum Up is that it must have either Wi-Fi or a good network signal in the church for the contactless device. For online giving, obviously, you'll be using that at home. But for the contactless device, you must have a good signal in the church. If you haven't got that, there's a couple of options, but the one we recommend and people have used in the diocese is called Goodbox. Goodbox is a lovely device. It's quite a lot more expensive, but then you get the whole thing in one. With a Sum Up, you have a little card reader and you have to buy a tablet or an iPad to go with it. With the Goodbox, you get a nice little machine, this sort of size, with its own integral screen, and that works without Wi-Fi, without any signal. It works offline, and then the treasurer would take it home maybe at the end of the week and upload all the donations. That costs about £350 for a one-off for the device. So.
Yeah, so I think that covers that.
Yeah.
Teresa says, how much is the device and cost for contactless with Sum Up?
About £20.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite cheap, isn't it? The actual
but
device.
you need something to go with it. So the little device is about £20, but you need a tablet or an iPad to go with it. So
yeah, and
it's up to 200 altogether by the time you've got all the bits.
Yes, it's crucial that anything that you do go ahead with getting this is you get it through the parish buying site, because that's where the best deals have been done. So when we first started off with the contactless system, we had a few churches who didn't realise that and just went direct to Sum Up and ended up paying more. So yes, make sure you go through parish buying. On parish buying, there is a list of how much it all costs, isn't it, and the comparisons as well. So you'll be able to find that there, Teresa. If you get stuck, come back to us and we'll we'll find the right page. Sometimes it's a bit of a minefield, isn't it? Finding it all out. Okay, yeah. Right.
That has said, are there any grants to help churches purchase these things? Not that I'm aware of, for purchasing the contactless card readers. Yeah, it's but you know, the cost isn't that great. It might sound a lot for the good box to pay £350, but when you consider that having the device is probably going to bring in quite a bit of new money, people who would donate, you know, £1 in cash would probably donate £10 on a card reader. So when you consider these things, you're probably going to recoup your cost fairly quickly. Obviously, you'd need to consider it on for your own church, whether you think you're going to get enough money back from it to pay for it. But I think in general, those churches who have used them have found that they get enough money back to make it worthwhile, make the initial outlay worthwhile. Yeah,
I've just put the link there to that comparison site which is on Parish resources. We can't praise parishresources.org.uk more, because there's so much on there. It's really worth looking at Parish resources for all sorts of things. Yeah, really helpful site.
What I'll probably do actually in the follow-up email to this webinar, I'll put lots of different links to some of the things that we've been talking about today. So I'll put a link to the contactless on parish buying. I'll put this link that Liz has just posted here as well, and various other things. So I'll put lots of different little links on the follow-up email, and you'll be able to find things. As we haven't got a PowerPoint presentation to send today, I'll just send you information with some links, which hopefully will be quite useful.
Great, that's good. Thank you for doing that. Teresa's asking a general one. What effect is the lower giving going to have on Truro Diocese? Cheltenham's reducing clergy by 60 posts by 2021. Oh dear. Yes, well, hard to say really, isn't it? It's really hard to know, to be honest. They were we were talking yesterday to a chap from National Church Finance, Mr. Nye, who was saying actually the returns in May were only down by 8%, which actually isn't too bad. That's over the whole Church of England, and obviously some churches, you know, things will be picking up as the year goes through. We hope, but it's really, who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
We just don't know.
No.
But yeah, it may have to come to reducing clergy posts, you know, because obviously everybody's struggling to pay their MMF, which pays for the clergy. So it may have to come to reducing clergy posts, as Cheltenham are doing. But at the moment, we don't know.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Okay. That's that one.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. At our church, we need to look seriously at our outgoings in the future. How do we, for example, choose between paying our building insurance or the MMF? So again, obviously, building insurance and the MMF, both of them need to be paid. This is the problem we have. It's not something we can really choose between, because both of them are vitally important. The building insurance, obviously, you can't not pay your insurance, and the MMF, obviously, that pays for your clergy. So again, it's something that you can't do without. So we need to find ways of bringing more income in, which is why we're saying, you know, to focus on the regular giving, to focus on creative ways to bring in the income, to when we do reopen our churches, to maybe think about running a stewardship program so that we can increase giving and increase income in our churches, so that we can pay these things, because it's impossible to choose between those examples.
Yeah. I was going to say something else then. I can't remember what I was going to say. Lost it then. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It's also actually during this time, it is well worth really looking at our outgoings. I mean, we all do that at home, don't we, on a regular basis? I'm forever looking at, comparing things about how much it costs to get my car insured or my house insured. Apart from then, when I'm asked what my insured of my car, I can't remember now. But it's well worth. We do that generally, don't we? Quite regularly. And quite often we don't do that with our own church, and it's well worth looking at that, making sure you're not over-insured. I have one example of a church who were insuring a hall that was connected and discovered that actually they were massively over-insured, and suddenly, just like that, saved £2,000 a year on insuring the building. And so it's worth looking at that. It's where parish buying is helpful, because they get the best deals for things. Look at those things that perhaps we can cut back on, and or reduce, or all those sort of things. It's quite a good opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you're not already signed up to parish buying, do sign up for it. Parish buying is there. It's set up by the Church of England just to help parishes, really, to find some of the best deals, and the National Church negotiates good deals with different providers of all sorts of resources and insurance and energy contracts, all sorts of different things like that. And the National Church has negotiated good deals, so you can often find the cheapest and best deals on parish buying. So I would recommend, it's free to sign up, so sign up, have a look, see if you can get better deals than you have already that way. Andrew says, if we need to lose clergy numbers, remember that we're a royal priesthood of all believers and engage more with lay ministry. So yeah, it's a good comment. Lay ministry is also important.
Yes, certainly being shaken up a lot, aren't we, in our churches at the moment?
Yeah,
really. Right, how are we getting on? Any more in particular? Any more questions? And we're happy to keep this quite a short session, just for people to, and the idea was it was a drop-in, so you can drop out as well. Don't feel you've got to stay to the end.
Brett says, I have a red button marked recording on my screen. Yes, it is always there. You've obviously just not noticed it before, but we do record these sessions. They're all recorded, and they're available on the website. So again, I'll send you a link in the follow-up email to that. But on the website where these webinars are advertised, you can see recordings of them. So if you'd missed any of the previous ones, or you'd like a refresher on the previous ones, you can go back and watch them there. This one will be there. It normally takes a little while. It'll probably be the middle of next week before this one's on there, but all the others are on there already. So if you want to have a refresher, to go and have a look there, or indeed let other people know as well. Other people who might have missed the webinars can catch up on there.
Yeah, don't worry, we're not recording you. Or GDPR safe here, you know. Yeah. Oh, hang on, more questions. That's great.
This CAF vouchers. The charity number is not parish specific.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I have to say, I don't know the answer to that one.
No, I don't either.
Charity number is not parish specific. I'll find out. We can find out for you, Howard, and let you know. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just write that down. Oh dear. Sorry. I've just made a note of that. I've made a note of that. Okay.
Yeah, Howard says that's fine. We'll
get
back to you, Howard.
It's interesting, isn't it? You don't see many of those a lot, do you? So these days, they kind of haven't heard about CAF for a long time. Right.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Well, if there's no more questions, we can probably finish there.
I'm just trying to think.
Like
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Anything else I was going to?
Yeah, I was just thinking, is there anything else I was going to share?
Yes, we can think of. Yeah, don't forget the videos as well, but videos on giving and to use as well. As I say,
so on the videos, I was looking for today, there's a new video actually about how to promote online giving. So you may have already seen the videos on how to set up your online giving, which are really helpful. But there's also a new one on how to promote online giving, which again is really good. It's how to put your link on Facebook, how to put your link on a church near you, all these kinds of different things are in that video. So I will find the link for that one and again add that to the follow-up email. It's really worth watching just so you know how to promote your online giving platform and how to use it effectively. Because as we said, if you were in the last, not the last webinar, the one before that, there's no point setting up your online giving platform and then just sitting and waiting for people to find it. You really need to go out and promote it. You need to advertise it through social media, through a church near you in different ways so that people can find it and then they can make their donations that way. So that's a really helpful little video. Somebody did send a comment that they found the lady on the animated videos quite difficult to understand, but hopefully you can go over them, you can listen again and again. So hopefully, yeah, they are useful if you focus on them a little bit. Some more comments here as well, actually. No particular question, but would like to say that we've found Good Box to be useful as they deal with the offline payments. Love the idea of a virtual open garden as a fundraiser. Yeah. So yeah, the Good Box is really helpful because you can give donations offline. So it's good for a lot of our churches that it's really difficult to bring Wi-Fi into some of the churches. And yeah.
So this next Thursday, same time, same place, we are looking at more ideas for stewardship, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
Christine, do you want to say any more about that? Or is that?
Yeah, so just some tips really for stewardship next week. So some of the ideas we've been talking about, but others as well, kind of going forward and looking at stewardship programs going forward as we look to coming out of lockdown as well. So that will be great. But also we hope to do some webinars in the future. So next week is our last advertised webinar, but we hope to carry on after that, possibly not every week, but certainly regularly. So if you've got any ideas of things you would like us to include in future webinars, please just drop us an email and we'll be happy to think about that and put some of your ideas into the future webinars. Or if there's something you'd like us particularly to repeat as well, we can do that in the future. So please let us know. Yeah.
We just had a late one come in from Claire. How about using crowdfunder for specific things needed for the church community? Yes, yeah, that's been used in the past. I don't hear that many, but there certainly have been churches that have done that. So yeah, absolutely, it's fine. I'd like to finish. I finish with this. It's one of my. I love this quote from Henri Nouwen, and then we'll finish it there. I think. When we seek to raise funds, we're not saying, "Please, could you help us out?" because lately it's been hard. Rather, we are declaring, we have a vision that is amazing and exciting. We're inviting you to invest yourself through the resources God has given you, your energy, your prayers, and your money in this work to which God has called us.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you for joining us again. And we're really pleased that people are finding this helpful. And yeah, just keep in touch and do drop us an email if you do have any specific needs that you need help with, even if it's however silly it is, because I know how sometimes this whole technology thing is really alarming, and really happy to go through you step by step, really, to help you with that. we'd love to do that. So keep in touch. Mind you, bearing in mind, we're both only part-time. So we're not here 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But,
it's always good actually to contact us if you can using the stewardship email, because we're both part-time. Whoever's working will respond to the stewardship email, so it's a good one to use. You can use our own emails as well if you prefer, but the stewardship one is a good one to use. So yeah,
that's right. And SEN, that we will, yes, actually perhaps Christine can put that on her email, but it's also in the Parish Giving Scheme leaflet on the back.
Yeah, I'll put that in the follow-up email as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Bless you all.
Take care. God bless.